Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is Midsummer Night's Tea from Hardy & Sons, which is a floral black tea. I'm more into floral green teas lately, but this one's pretty good, and I thought it was appropriate because I'm doing my June 2022 TBR, which is mostly going to be what I have called the Midsummer Night's Cleanup, just because it makes it sound fun. Uh, so I kind of instituted my cleanup months in the past because I wanted to finish a bunch of library books, before they might be due and there might be fines accrued. And there was such a grace period put on fines for so long that they kept on, my public library systems kept putting delays on when they could, bring fines into play again. So they would always have these little warnings on the website saying, by the end of, December 2020, by the end of, March 2021, and then June 2021. So I thought, well, they probably won't do it. They're probably just, playing with us because they don't seem to be bringing these fines back. And in fact, last year they stopped with fines, but I didn't want to take a chance. So that was one of the reasons I did a cleanup month, because I figured let me finish as many library books as possible just in case. Now it's not so much of a just in case, because the only times they will charge you for anything is if you've had a book out a month past its non-renewable time. And even then, they don't really give you a hard time about that unless you build up a lot of books over a lot of period of time. So we're probably pretty good there. But between the books that I hate to use this expression because it's kind of very loose, currently reading, and also library books that I've checked out the library. Sometimes these two lists overlap a little bit. I might be currently reading a library book, and when I say that, I'm talking about the Goodreads currently reading list. But it's also physical, because once I've started a book, I don't usually put them back neatly on a bookshelf somewhere. I usually have it out somewhere because I figure I'm technically still reading it, even if I haven't read it in months or even a year. So I figured it's time to do a cleanup. I do them as often as possible, but the last time I think I did it was in, I guess, December, like a real official one. Now, does this mean that I do not start any new books? Definitely not. I will already obviously be trying to finish a lot of library books and return them, which means I got to start some of these library books to make sure whether I really want to read them or not. Some of these books I've checked out from the library over the past months, I actually do want to read, but maybe not right now. So I have to determine whether I want to keep going with it right now, or whether maybe I'll check it out another time. I mean, what am I going to do? Just keep it in the house collecting dust? That's not a good idea. But it's also that I have a lot of books. And this always happens to me no matter what I do, because I tend to read a lot of books at once. Sometimes for readathons, read-alongs, group reads, buddy reads, etc. Sometimes just because I'm interested in a subject or just a book. And I pick them up. This could be books that I own. And I read maybe a chapter, a few chapters. I might even make some progress. And then it just languishes. And it doesn't mean it's a bad book. It just means that I just read so many books at once and I'm looking for the next shiny thing. And sometimes there are deadlines, not so much books due at the library, but maybe there is a group read discussion that I want to be a part of. And so I want to finish it if possible by that date. So this just means I have a ton of books that I really should either DNF, return to a library, or finish, like actually finish. So my goal is not to take care of these entire lists, because that's impossible on my schedule and my energy level. So mainly I'm going to try to just get a chunk of them finished or a chunk of them returned. Making a dent in these piles is good. Why June? Well, in the past, like I said, it was because of the library dates. But also, actually, June has also been a month for me of wanting to clear up things, because July is one of my favorite months of the year on BookTube because of Jane Austen July. And there's a couple of other months like that, but this is like the first, to me, very big priority of the year. I participate in other ones that are wonderful and enjoy, and sometimes I do get more involved in certain ones. This year I've been taking a bit of a breather in getting very, very involved. I usually have been doing the minimal. But this is the first one that I'm going to be doing, like, wanting to follow as many prompts as possible, wanting to read as much. And it's Jane Austen July. It's my favorite author. It's my, it's just such an enjoyable event. It really distracts me from July because I really dislike the month of July. Not just because of the heat, but because of a lot of other reasons that I'm not going to get into. However, hardly had any tea there. However, in order to really look forward to July, I don't want to see all these books hanging over me, saying, oh, I'm very excited about, like, I don't know, picking up, I don't know, Sense and Sensibility or something, or this new Jane Austen biography, or this new pastiche, or do we say pastiche? Whatever. Or, you know, sequel or prequel or whatever you want to call it. And you're looking at these books and you're piling up all these TBRs for 1 month, but you see all these other books looking at you like, hey. So that's the whole deal for me as a cleanup. It's like a spring cleaning, but it's in more like the summer, sort of. The days are long. We have a lot of more light, I guess, to read, but that doesn't really stop me because I can read in January. Anyway, I'm rambling, aren't I? So yeah, that's all I want to say basically about what my main reading goal is for June. Is not that, of course, I will always factor in mood. If there is a book that I suddenly just really, really, really want to read that has nothing to do with anything, this could happen in July as well. This could happen in October. I'm not going to say I'm not going to read it at all. But I really want to be able to focus in those special months. So I really want to just feel as much of a clean slate as is possible with my own personality, my reading personality, and my cluttery personality. So we'll see if this works out. I really hope it does. So I'm sure you're wondering which books I'm talking about that I'm currently reading. This would be a really long video, and I do hope to talk about some of these books throughout the month of June. I know I've been a little lax in making videos, at least I was in the month of May, because I was, well, many reasons, lots of busy things happening. So I didn't really get to update on books that I had started but not finished. I will do a wrap up really soon, so you will see what I finished, but there are so many more books that I've begat. Anyway, there's so many more books that that I have added to these piles, and there are also books that I checked out of the public library again, or some that came ready for me. One was a book I was waiting for, and I just read it in the month of May so quickly, so that's great. But there's quite a few that have piled up again in the house, so I'm not going to really get into which ones they are right now. There are a number of mysteries, there are a few non-fictions, of course. Those are the main ones, so you'll see probably some discussions of them as the month goes on. But I will just show you 2 books that I definitely want to read, or one of them I have already started, so I just really want to finish it because it's part of a group read. And so it's been a little bit of a struggle for me because the book's font is really small. I guess I could have gotten it on an e-reader, but I still struggle with e-readers. So there you go. This is by Mrs. Harry Coghill, which is a lovely name. I don't know, but Harry is definitely not her first name. This is a Canadian heroine. Wait, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to be like the, yeah, those people, you know, look at that. I'm the Incredible Hulk. But anyway, that's what I always think when I do the split face. This is a classic that it takes place in Canada, which I kind of like, but like during the Victorian period. So it, you know, covers a few of my interests, and so far the story seems pretty good, and hopefully it will be. I can't really get into what the story is yet because I haven't gotten that far into it, but I will update you hopefully as it goes along. Now, my sister and I are going to attempt another buddy read. My sister and I have a lot of similar reading interests. If you watched my video in March, she was here and we were able to do like a kind of a haul, and you could see a lot of the books that she talked about are books that I talk about, and vice versa. We have a lot in common. So you would think, especially because if you went within a year's time of the books that we both read, a lot of those books or at least some of them will be the same. So yet we have attempted many times to do a buddy read, and sometimes it's worked out, but very often, especially with classics, especially with Dickens for some reason, she gets to she finishes it quicker than I do, if I finish it at all. And I really would like to rectify that. And so one thing we did was say, okay, we're not going to do it over a month. We're going to do it over a few months. I think we said 3 months, but I hopefully would be happy to be able to keep it going until the end of September. So that's technically, I guess, 4 months. We'll see. And it is a Charles Dickens, and it's not the easiest one. I've heard not great things about this one in the past, but I've also heard it mentioned, where did I hear it mentioned? Oh yeah, there were references to it in some of Jasper Fford's books, the Thursday Next novels, I believe. And I kind of really do have a goal that's well over a 20-year goal at this point, to read most, if not all, of the books referenced in Jasper Fford's books, because it is a fun series about books. And in my reread, which is a slow reread of the series, I have now gotten so many more references because I read a lot of these books that were referred to. So I'm very happy about that. This is a book definitely that was mentioned and an important plot point at one point, and that is Martin Chuzzlewit. Excuse me, I'm choking on Martin. I can't say the word without being, I don't know, allergic to some of these names, I think. Anyway, I don't make any sense. But yes, Martin Chuzzlewit. I usually, when you say that name to people, there's always oh yeah, all right, it wasn't one of his best ones, or whatever you hear. But every once in a while you get someone who actually really likes this book, and I'm hoping that we are those people. And but if not, we've got something to rant about. Ranting is fun too. It is a big book. In this one, it's, well, with appendices, it's over 900 pages, which is pretty big. But I suppose in even 3 months, that would mean 300 pages a month. In 4 months, even, I guess, a little less so. And you know, I finished that that Juliet Barker Bronte biography in about 3 months' time, and that was a big, interesting, but a big old chunker of a book, and it ended up being a pleasure. So why not? So yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know what comes of this. I know almost nothing about it, and that's probably good, because I kind of like to go into stories not knowing what to expect nowadays, especially classics, because so many of them you find out so much about what's going to happen by reading the back. So I don't even want to read the back. This is going to be fresh to me. If you haven't read it, it's going to be fresh to you. If not, feel free to comment on what you thought about it, good or bad. You know, without spoilers. I know you can't avoid spoilers in classics entirely. I still haven't read Little Dorrit, but I've seen the movie, the film, the miniseries, whatever it was. And, you know, even though I know a lot of what happens, I still want to read it at some point. But that's another story for another time, literally. The only other thing, and like I said, I'm not going to be going full throttle into any book events in June, but there are a number of booktubers that I quite like who are hosting the Ancients-a-thon again this year, and I believe that means that one needs to read something like a book or poetry or play or whatever that was written before 1700, right? So that actually gives a lot of choices, but there are plenty of books and writings during that time period that I don't care to read. I feel like there's two things that I haven't done in a while. I haven't read a Shakespeare in a while, and I really have not done an audiobook in a very long time. I almost never do audiobooks, but I mean, I certainly have not done audiobooks in ages. And I'm kind of thinking I'm going to try to combine that. I got an audiobook of Shakespeare's writings from the library just the other day, and I am thinking about listening and paying attention to at least one of his plays during the month of June. I haven't decided which one. I know a lot of people will say, well, keep in theme, do a Midsummer Night's Dream. I've already read that though on my own, and I've already seen it performed a number of times. I really like it, but I kind of want something new. I kind of want the histories. We'll see. I'm going to go by however the mood hits me at the time of pressing play. So I'll let you know if that becomes a success or not. And if not, well, what can you do? Anyway, so that's just a little overview of what my TBR is. It's not very specific, well, not extremely specific, but of course, if you have any Shakespeare plays that you especially enjoy listening to as an audiobook, I do believe that Shakespeare is better hearing it out loud than just sitting and reading it, of course. So I am open to suggestion, and if you like to talk about any of these type of subjects, feel free to subscribe if you have not. So that is all for now. I hope you guys have a really good June, and of course also in your comments if you want to talk about what you plan to read in June, please do. So for now, this is Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book-filled day, and hopefully not such a hot day, temperature-wise. Okay.